Thank you, Woody. As we do have Kim Bokamper with us here in the house and been talking about a lot of different things. Hey, before we get going here, Bo, and everything else, all this information, because you and I now had a chance to spend time with Champ Kelly, and we both like him a lot.
Yeah, nice. I mean, look, you know what? It's funny, the conversation I had with him in at the game in Spain, and you know, it was enjoyable because he asked, what do you think? You know, and I think he's probably doing the same thing with getting acquainted with guys that have been around. And I think he values, what things that we have to say.
Well, he's gonna make a run at keeping this job,
and I think he probably. Yeah. I think. Well, look, it's what's he 2 weeks in now, right?
Yeah, just a couple weeks in, right? But he's had a chance to sit back.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're the guy sitting back there and watching the way things have been done, and you've been other places, you're going to, ooh, we could do a better job. And he doesn't take shots at anybody, but he's just looking at trying to figure out, and he wants to know what the owner's thinking. And
Joe, if you're going to get a job like that, you're going to do it your way. Now, maybe your way coincides with the previous guy, and maybe not, and probably not.
You better do
so
things
instead
a
of
little
doing
bit
instead of doing it their way that you're not comfortable with, just because that's the way it's been going. No. Let me push that aside and take pick and choose. Oh, I like this, I like that, but I'm gonna do this because this is my horse to ride.
All right. So saying all that, Woody, you have Albert Breer, who's been around the NFL for a long time. Albert Breer had some thoughts on what this thing might look like.
Yeah.
And I told you a little bit about this yesterday. I want you to hear it.
So I think there are a couple guys that are important too. The president, Tom Garfinkel, and then Brandon Shore, who's their cap chief. I think he's going to have a role in all of this too. And I know people haven't heard that name, but I think it's an important name. I think he could wind up being like what Kevin Demoff was in LA, and now Tony Pastores is there, what Mike Disner has been in Detroit. These names may not mean anything to people, but they're guys who kind of were stabilizing forces in their organizations. And Brandon Shore is just a name to watch, is somebody who, when they reimagine the whole structure of things, maybe it's a three-headed thing, where you've got a general manager who's sort of focused on scouting the way Les Snead is in LA, or John Lynch is in San Francisco with Parag Marathe there, or Brad Holmes is in Detroit. You have that guy focusing on scouting, and then you have, almost like the second arm of the GM, with the cap chief. I think there's going to be a reimagination of things that way too.
One being football, and the other being the finances, that we have screwed up a little bit.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
I am too.
Because I would like a GM that's focused on the guys that are going to be on the field, and you figure out the money. You figure out the money, but neither one of them cross over.
Yeah, I don't think Brandon Shore is going to all of a sudden try to say, hey, I want to get involved in the football side.
Yeah, and I don't. And look, so for me, from a for that money guy, let's just call him the money guy. His job is to work the salary cap, right? You got to work that salary cap. You got to figure out how to make things work. And I've long believed that in this league, they can do anything with the salary cap. You can. There's always. I go back to a number of years ago. Tampa Bay was was one when they were kind of in that Super Bowl pot mixed in that realm, and they were barely under the cap, and somehow toward late in the season they bring in three big guys to get them over the top. And I go, how'd they do that?
Well, you redo contracts.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So the point being is, I think with that salary, there's always a way. There's always a way to make it work.
I just think right now, and usually I agree.
But I don't want.
But we got a mess right now.
But I don't want a general. No doubt. But I don't want a general manager that's got one eye on the prospects and another eye on the money. I want that guy to say this. I want this guy. You figure out how to make it happen.
I think Brandon Shore this past year. Now again,
Well, Brandon's been around for a long time,
Yeah,
and
no,
he's
no.
climbing up the ladder, right?
He has climbing up.
Obviously,
No, he's got power. He's got
Yeah.
juice, but Albert Breer, I hate to break it to you, Brandon Shores had juice over there.
Yes.
But so I believe that Chris has tried to say, hey, I need this and this.
Yeah.
And I believe Brandon Shores said, you can't have it, man.
Yeah.
We went all in a year before. We got it. We got to be responsible. You got to do it. You got to do it cheaper. I know you need this. It's your job to go out and find, which, by the way, we've got some veteran guys that aren't making a lot of money. They're making some big plays. Jack Jones just made the biggest play in the last game, the interception, end of the game. So you can find some of those guys, but I think I can see where this thing's going to work together.
Well, I think the key, you know what, to me, I think the key to this team, right? Let's just talk about this team and where we are today, right? I think the key to this team lies very much in the fact that all the young guys that are playing this year, Savaianaya, Grant, Phillips, Biggers, the guys in the back, you know,
Trader,
Gordon, all those young guys,
all of them,
that are getting a lot of snaps, they've got to be the equivalent of Patrick Paul last year.
Yeah, they're
right?
They're going to be
Come in and
starters
be that
next
guy.
year. Yes,
and they're all cheap. No, I'm not saying cheap.
They're rookie contracts.
But they're rookie contracts,
yes.
And so you build there. So if you can do that in a year or two and build on these young guys that are under these rookie contracts that give you flexibility financially, you're not burdened by, you know, those guys that you did 2 or 3 years left in. This guy hasn't played it down, you know,
Couple.
He played a couple, 3, and, you know, but it's not about that. This is about the financial side of it. You got a lot of money tied up in him for a couple of years, right? And these other guys are cheap compared to where he is, and you're getting a guy. We've seen a lot of guys come out where they try, oh, let's get this guy. He's got maybe 2 or 3 years left in him, and we'll say, well, yeah, but his tag's on reserve. You know what I mean?
Well, injured guys, we got to start. We got to redo things with guys that have been injured that all of a sudden think they're not going to be injured when they get here. We've had terrible luck. Bad luck. But Bo, I got to say this though. This year things will be a little different. I do agree with all that, but they got to clean up. This year is going to be the dead money, and then as soon as they get rid of this dead money, most of it this year, they're going to be in a lot better shape.
And look, the one thing I don't understand. Let's take Bradley Chubb for example, right? I don't know what his contract status is. I don't know how much money.
It's a big number.
I don't know how much money's
invested.
So it's not how much they're getting paid. It's how much it affects your cap.
Right.
What's that cap number if he stays or if he goes? And Bradley's one of those guys, I think. And look, I love Bradley. I think he's playing hard. I think he's I would love to have him on my team every day of the week.
Yep.
But is he at that point that it's, you know, you're not getting the value out of him that you could get out of somebody else that's maybe a little bit less, but is going to be another Bradley Chubb.
Again, and you're right. He's a guy who wants to be here, and we've seen that. But they got a lot of tough decisions to make. And by the way, you talk about it more than anybody because we're gonna have Austin Jackson look like he's gonna be back at right tackle when we come back to play the first of the 6 games left. And then the other guy, James Daniels. What do we do if he comes back for 1 or 2 games?
I don't think we see him. I really don't think we see him.
And if you don't see him, why would I want him back?
I may be wrong. I know exactly why.
So those kind of decisions have to.
And look, I think Austin Jackson will probably be back. Maybe when for New Orleans.
He's missed. Oh yeah, back for
New Orleans because you got this 2 weeks.
But what do you do going forward after this year?
Look, you
want him back. He's missed more than half the games.
First of all, let me. You know what's going to make the decision. How many games are there left?
6.
I don't even know. 6. So let's say he plays New Orleans. That's 5. If he gets hurt between now, comes back, gets hurt again between now and the end of the season, I gotta you got to figure out what to do, right? But now the dilemma is he comes back for six games, plays really well,
grades out well,
and then all
right.
I mean, we've seen that happen before.
Don't tease me, bro. Don't tease me, bro.
But look, I saw him on the sideline, very active. I mean, he wasn't dressed out, but active with the offensive line, communicating with them, and
We just got hit both. We got hit with our right guard and right tackle getting hurt in this first game of the year.
One of them played 3 plays. One played like 2 or 3 quarters.
I thought they'd be back before now. And Bo, all of a sudden, we're 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Where are you, man?
Yeah.
Where are you, brothers?
Yeah. And look, if you're a guy's agent and you're saying, hey, look, you only got this much season. Well, why don't you just get ready for next year? You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that come into that.
It's a different,
different
it's
time.
definitely a different time. So anyway, I want to throw that out. And of course, I know you feel the same way. The years of Devon Achane and Jordyn Brooks are just third in rushing. And Devon's he's been the key.
Yeah.
Everything's around him offensively, and it should be. He leads the team in receptions as well as third in the league in rushing. And then Jordyn Brooks coming off 20 friggin' tackles. And Bo, I was looking at the game the other night. I was on NFL Network. My God, some of the tackles he made on the line of scrimmage.
People.
He is.
Yeah.
He got to be back. And what a great attitude. Win or lose. The guy's leading them like.
And I tell you what, Dotson's not far behind.
No, Dotson. I was going to ask you about Dotson. We don't talk about him. What do you think?
I watch these games, and there's a lot of times I see 2 guys right at that tackle point, and it's Dotson, and it's Jordyn, right? Both of them right there. And you know what? They've done a good job. They've done a good job in the front with the defensive linemen where they're staying with their guys and creating those lanes where these linebackers scrape to, and they get through that little gap and hit them at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage.
I have noticed
they've gotten a lot better at that. And a lot of times it's Dotson coming from one side and Jordyn coming from the other side.
When they're not getting blocked 4 and 5 yards down because this defensive line's doing a better job, to your point. You're right. Hey, we got more stuff, Bo. Pete Prisco, our buddy from Coral Springs, senior NFL analyst for CBS Sports. He's going to join us when we come back. We're going to talk to Big Pete here about some of the games coming up and the Miami Dolphins. But right now, I want to talk about hurricane season.